There is no path I'd rather roam than these narrow lanes about my home, to leave my troubles far behind as I follow its track to places kind. Past verges green and crops of gold, up gentle hill along valley fold, past flower meadow over silver stream as I lose my thoughts to nature's dream. For along your path there is no wrong, just pretty flower and bird of song, nature's beauty all around to fill my sight and to fill my sound. Past English oak, through pastures new, wherever you lead I shall follow you, for you are my England, you are my home, and along your country lanes my soul shall forever roam. There you go, a bit of poetry to start the day with. Good morning to all and happy St George's Day. We're over near Kings Cliffe today. It should be a glorious day. I've done this walk about 12-13 years ago. I don't remember too much about it, but it looks fun on the map. So heading out from Kings Cliffe through Fineshade Wood to Blatherwycke and then back along the Willow Brook with a few interesting places on the way hopefully. So yeah, lovely day, should be a good one. Just entering Fineshade Wood now. The one glorious thing about this woodland is it's absolutely rammed full normally of red kites. It's often attributed as the place where red kites were reintroduced to the country, and it wasn't. They were introduced elsewhere before they were introduced in Northamptonshire. But as far as Northamptonshire is concerned, Fineshade Wood was a very important part of that reintroduction programme. Back in 2000 I think it was, they were actually introduced in a woodland a bit nearer to Corby, about 10 miles down the road from here, but they took up residence here very quickly, and this is a very important wood for the reintroduction of red kite, and there's a lot of them here. Although having said that, probably won't see one now, but I know last time I walked here there were plenty of red kites and buzzards. So I have my big zoom camera with me in the bag, so if I do get a chance to get some footage I will. But they're very, very tough things to film when they're up on the wing, but you know, fingers crossed we might catch something. I wish I was clever enough to identify bird song, but I'm not. But I keep hearing this thing that sounds like a rattlesnake along this path, and I don't know what it is. I'm going to guess it's a warbler of some sort. I'm going to guess it's a grasshopper warbler. But when I get home I shall try and find out, and if I can find out what it is I'll put it on the bottom of the screen. But yeah, it's a strange one. Strange one. That is a very strange bird. Bird song, should I say, because I can't see anything. Whoop, switched it off. It's an absolutely it's a glorious wood to walk through, and It's a glorious morning. But having given the red kites a big shout out, I've not seen one so far, which I kind of knew was going to happen if I mentioned them. Still a while to go, but yeah, so far I've not seen one single red kite anywhere. My moment will come. I don't know if you can make out, there's quite a drop here, quite a canyon down to the bottom there. Along the path that we were walking through the woods, and that's the old excuse me, that's the old railway line. That's the old Peterborough to Rugby railway line, same line you'd be on if you could continue the Nene Valley railway line beyond Wansford and Stibbington and Yarwell. You would be running along the track bed down the bottom there, which closed to passenger traffic, if I remember rightly, in 1966. I think there were trains still running, goods trains running until 68, and then it closed completely. But yeah, it would have been a spectacular sight to see steam hauled trains running along this this valley stroke canyon. We're just passing the remnants now of what was Fineshade Abbey. This isn't the Abbey, and indeed it's not even the remnants of it, it's the stable block of the Abbey, which is all that is still standing. The Abbey stood somewhere alongside this, I don't know exactly where, left, right, behind or whatever, and it was here from about 1200 onwards as a priory, and in 1500s I think it became an abbey. And I think it was massively rebuilt in the 1700s, and then during World War II it was commandeered by the US 8th Air Force to act as a sort of operations base for all their airfields around here and planning all the various missions that they were going to fly on. And it's seemingly often the case when stately homes got commandeered by the forces, as was often the case, it didn't come out of it very well. And the state it was in after the war was such that they decided it was beyond repair and basically got demolished in I think 1956. And all that's left now is this rather cute, well looked after private residence that was the stable block of Fineshade Abbey. I'll put up a picture at the moment. It's the only one I've got of the abbey itself before it got demolished. You can see it's quite a spectacular place. It's a shame to lose it, really, as is the case with many of our old buildings. Blame the Americans. Unfortunately, my route takes me right through a herd of sheep. So I'm going to have to wait and see what he's going to do with them. He's clearly going to move them. So I'll just have to sit tight until then. I've decided whatever they're doing with those sheep, they're not moving them. At least they're not moving them in a hurry, so I'm not going to sit here all day. Just going to have to go down there and find a way past them. This should be fun. Coming down towards the village of Blatherwycke. That was Blatherwycke Lake to our left. It's a cute village, Blatherwycke. It's a bizarre name. I did some research last night, but apparently back in the Doomsday Book era it was known as Blair Witch, quite literally Blair Witch, which if you've seen the film, you know, would have you scratching your head a little bit when you walk through the woods. But yeah, Blatherwycke, apparently it stands for the place where bladderwort grows. Bladderwort's some sort of carnivorous aquatic plant, probably growing in the lake. Whether that's justification for naming your village after it, I don't know. But yeah, it's another old one. You used to have a very big stately home here, Blatherwycke Hall. Even more spectacular than the one at Fineshade. And it's gone. And ironically, it's gone for the same reasons. You know, it dates back a long way. It was even more spectacular. I'll put up an image now of what it looked like. I mean, that's a pretty spectacular des res. But again, it was used during wartime. It was used for a multitude of purposes. I think there's some Polish guys here preparing for the Operation Market Garden manoeuvre. They were gunners. And I think it was a prisoner of war camp as well towards the end of the war, a German prisoner of war camp. Whatever the case, once again, after the war had finished, it was trashed, it was wrecked basically, and the two sisters, the two local sisters who were born and brought up there, moved back to the hall, and the cost of repair was too massive. And I read some newspaper articles. I'll put another clip up now of the back page headline or front page headline of the local paper, which is all very sad really. But yeah, you know, they couldn't afford to keep it going, so they sold it, and it sold for £1,600, which is absolutely ridiculous. It sold for £1,600 to a company that was going to demolish it, and they did. And the sisters stayed on. I think they built in the grounds of it a small sort of bungalow that they saw out the rest of their lives in, because they wanted to live near to their place of birth and previous residence. So incredibly sad to see a building of that magnitude vanish. But again, it was another post-war time. I think it was 1948 it was demolished, and yeah, there's just remnants lying around now. We'll hopefully pick up on some of those when we walk past it in about 20 minutes time. But yeah, coming into Blatherwycke. Can't get it out of my head when I walk into villages on a warm day with a raging thirst. This initial, where's the pub? Where's the pub? Where's the beer garden? Where's the ice cold beer and a packet of crisps? And then it suddenly clicks. There ain't going to be one. I hope it's not too long. Bring back the pubs. I presume somebody didn't watch their speed. Ha! Blatherwycke is down. Ourselves a black swan down here. The only place I've ever seen a black swan before is in South Devon at Dawlish, which is famous for them. That's the first time I've seen one in these parts. In the background, just right of centre there, is the walled garden of Blatherwycke Hall. Although we lost the hall, we kept the walled gardens, and I'm told they're well looked after as well. By who, I don't know. But they survive. I presume that was the gated entrance to Blatherwycke Hall. There's the walled garden of Blatherwycke Hall and the old church in the background, which I hope to be able to get to in a moment. I don't know for certain, but I suspect this flat area of land in front of us is where Blatherwycke Hall was before it's demolished. Maybe totally wrong, but I suspect it was in this area. Just picked this up off the path as a geology A-level student. I should be able to tell you what that is. I know it's a volcanic rock, but I can't remember. But I'm going to look it up and put it on the bottom of the screen. It's nice, that. Doing a bit of field walking. Can never resist wandering around, seeing what's lying on the surface. No idea what that is, whether it's a fossil or whether it's man-made. It's got shades of a belemnite, but those marks are a bit unusual. Another one to look up. Rather wonderful Blatherwycke Lake. Over on the far bank is the dam that created the lake, and also the watermill, Blatherwycke watermill, which doesn't appear to have any history. It doesn't even appear on specialist watermill websites, but it was a watermill, and it used a little run of water that came off that dam wall to power the mill. Middle of the 1800s, closed by the late 1800s, like most watermills. That's the old mill building next to the dam. It's a rather wonderful Grade 2 listed building. There just is no real historical record in terms of when the watermill operated, but it would have been the second half of the 1800s, like most of them. Absolutely cracking setting on a cracking morning. Worst places in the world to be than this one, definitely. Very nice. The only ugly part of this walk on the way back is a divert through the farmyard of Alder's farm, because, well, it's where the footpath goes, but there's no other way back, so you have to dive through here and then back out to the more pleasant side of the walk. There's Willow Brook once again featuring on a walk. Kings Cliffe allotments. Oldie worldy allotments with chickens. Right, that's it. A few yards to the car now. Yeah, it was a good one, good walk. I always remember it being a decent walk. Plenty to see, lots of different terrain. It's just, yeah, very nice. Nobody out there. Well, saw one couple walking for a short distance, but pretty isolated stuff and a lovely day. So, yeah, didn't get the kites. Been trying to get the kites for the last half an hour or so, but they're just against the blue sky and they're moving too quick, and I'm going to have to try a bit harder. So yeah, no kites, having promised to get kites. But there you go, otherwise cracking trip, hope you enjoyed it. Might be out again at the weekend, we'll see how it goes.